Look lively, boys and girls. We are back with rating every team's season so far this season, and it is Nottingham Forest's turn to be on the chopping block. What a fall off! What a dramatic decline from their prior, should I say, successes last year. 16th in the Premier League, semi-final exit in the Europa League. And yeah, it's not been a good one for the boys. It's been very unstable. A lot of heat on the gaffer, whoever's been in charge at different times. A lot of heat on the chairman, Monsieur Marinakis. A lot of spice there, and it's been a big old decline for those lads. And yeah, from seventh and Europa, well, should have been Conference League football, to 16th. I mean, if they stayed in the Conference League, they probably would have had a better year. They probably would have gone to win that, and they'd have been in Europe this season and still be in 16th place. I mean, look, it's what Palace did pretty much. So yeah, man, it's a poor year overall. They embarrassed themselves a little bit at the start of the season. They locked in Morgan Gibbs White and did that bit interview, which was very weird. Had that whole fiasco with Palace as well. And yeah, they really didn't paint themselves in a good light. And the performance this season has definitely not been on the level of last year, for many reasons. So let's get straight into it. So yeah, the season started pretty poorly. Like, beat Brentford, drew to Palace, and then it just went downhill. I think Nuno got sacked after this game. I don't know if that's right. I think that's the case. Yeah. And then this is the Ange form here. Bloody hell, it is diarrhea. And yeah, when he gets booted out, Shaw Dyche comes in. I think it was around about this point here, maybe. And then the results picked up slightly. But I mean, to get a team flowing from Ange ball to Dyche ball is a bit of a weird one, a bit of a poor run here, obviously through the winter months, out the cup and all this nonsense. Still in Europe though, and then Vitor Pereira comes in after this kind of. It comes in and then it starts to pick it up. Start to show some signs. They kind of outperformed us at home in the game they played against us. Beat Spurs. Good results against Porto. Got through. Battered Burnley. Battered Sunderland. Battered Chelsea. Beat us at home. And then we put their season in the pack, man. I'm not necessarily going to blame Forest. I kind of am though for their loss against us because we turned up in a massively different way in the second leg than we did the first leg. Forest had set themselves up really well for this run in here. I mean, they battered Burnley, they battered Sunderland, and we were like losing. I think we lost to Spurs, and yeah, I was not feeling confident in the slightest, and especially after they beat us at home, I thought this could go poorly. This could, and in the end, we turned up in a mad way. They should have been on the ball though. They should have been better in that game, but we picked them up, man. We were so good in this game, and they were just so poor that it's like, yeah. I remember in the game as well. No one really doing much for them at all, and it was just a drab way to end a really drab season for Forest. They should have done so much better. I mean, based on their performances last year, like you'd think that a team that finished in seventh and got Europe, and with the money they spent, shouldn't be finishing in 16th at all. But it's such an unstable club with the way that they run at the moment that, to be honest, nothing should really surprise you. Next season is going to be a weird one, I think. The drop off is going to be crazy. But yeah, it's not been great for Forest. To be honest, the good thing is they didn't get relegated, and even though we battered them at home, I think they actually made a good account of themselves in Europe. To be honest, like if I have a look at they've drawn against a decent team there in Betis, beating Porto in the group stage, and then going through against them as well. Um, like, I mean, obviously games like that isn't great, but then you beat Malmo, you beat Utrecht, they got through in the end, which is all they really were needed. Battling Ferencvaros, beating Fenerbahce is a massive game as well. Um, they won on penalties. I mean, Midtjylland disgraced himself in that shootout, but that's fine. But Porto, man, beating Porto 1-0 and getting through in that game was such a huge result. It can't be understated that they did a really good job in that fixture. And then obviously they put together this beautiful run of form down here. and then the season finished on a bit of a slump because obviously they've got nothing to play for. Weren't going down at that point, and they weren't in the European final, so they were on the beach, as we say. But yeah, I'm gonna give Forest a 4 out of 10 for performance this season. Um, it's not been good. That's why it's a low scorer. But I mean, it's not been as bad as obviously the teams that went down. They made a good run for themselves in Europe. They did a lot better than Spurs did. And I mean, I guess the positive is they're on the Premier League. But with their lofty standards that they set for themselves last season, with the football they were playing, with the way that we thought they were going to play this season, it's not been a good one at all. So 4 is about as high as we can really go on that. I want to look at the incomings first of all when we're looking at the transfers because a lot of money was spent. You look at that figure, £241 million spent. Like, that's 25 bodies. It's a lot. Like, and honestly, not a lot of them were impressive. Hutchinson showed glimpses. Dan Doy showed glimpses. Dylan Backer showed glimpses. None of these three here were in any way consistent enough for the level that they needed, but the money that was spent on them as well. Hutchinson, for me, last year in the Premier League didn't warrant a £43 million move, especially not to a team that are in the Europa League. Dan Doy, someone I've never really seen play football before. Dylan Backer, someone who's pretty decent on FM. And speaking of, Cali Mwendo for £30 million should have been given so much more of a chance. I don't really understand why he was left out the team so much to the extent where he went out on loan and probably will leave the club at the end of the season. McAtee hasn't looked great in the games where he's played. John Victor had a stinker against us and we haven't seen him since. I don't know who this Cabano kid is. Louise was poor for them when he was on loan there, and Luca did nothing as well. It's just a lot of average. There are some decent flashes in here. I think Igor Jesus is better than given credit for me. I think he's been quite a good player. Obviously, not got the output that you would want from your striker, but I think he has played quite well in the games, in the highlights I've seen from him. I'm a big fan of Savannah. I know obviously game time a bit limited with Nico Williams playing across the flanks there, but and obviously Ola Aina come back from injury, but I quite like Savannah. I think there's a quite a good player there, and I mean for this kind of fee as well, it's really cheap. Jair Cunha, big fan of him since he's come in. He's looked so much better than Murillo has, and Milinkovic has a poor year. I think Jair Cunha's come in and looked quite good for me. I think this is quite a decent signing for the future there. Luca Netz is a good player. Not seen a lot of him this season though, and it's a cheap fee though, so you can't really go wrong. And Ortega, man, he's come in and really did a decent job there. When called upon, obviously when Sells was out, when John Victor was out, but Ortega comes in very cheap again, but good experienced head to have in that dressing room. Title winner, and yeah, that's a good body for me. I think that's a good bit of business. Zinchenko did nothing. I didn't realise his Cabano had actually signed or left the club there. And yeah, just a lot of average. Scrolling down here, look at the outgoings. Obviously, Anthony Elanga was the big one. He was the big performer last year, and he was sold to Newcastle. Which honestly, good sale. They made profit on him, and he stunk up the gaff over there at Newcastle. A lot of money on there, Danilo to go back to Botafogo. Ramon Sosa wasn't fantastic in the time that he showed. Omar Bamidele, not the level of Murillo and Milenkovic, really. Matt Turner, again, not Premier League level. So they've sold players here that aren't really good enough. I thought Jota Silva was okay at times. And again, like I say, I don't understand the decision to let Kalimundo go there. But yeah, the outgoings are decent. There's a bit of money recouped there, but these transfers in, I don't think had the impact necessary. They didn't do the work for me that they needed to. And need, I mean, when you think about it, these are three players who play the same position, kind of. Like Hutchinson was off the right for a lot of time this season. Obviously, Ndoye and Bakwa are both right wingers. Why that for me is such a weird move. Why would you sign three players in the same position? I mean, I know they did it for the goalkeepers as well, but for me, John Victor was poor. I mean, Ortega was decent, and you're never going to use Angus Gunn. He's there just in case you need him. Probably doing his coaching badges. But yeah, it is going to be 3 out of 10 for me on the transfer front. Just not good enough. I mean, these are players that could come good going forward. I don't doubt that it's one of these three will have a good impact on this team going forward. I mean, I don't know about McAtee, to be honest. He hasn't impressed me really when he's played in the Premier League. Not bad in Europe, but I don't think it's hard to look bad in Europe. I think it's hard to look good. No, it's hard to look bad in Europe because like some of the teams they're playing against aren't Premier League level. People like Sturmgrass don't would not compete really in the Premier League. Um, so yeah, it's not a really good transfer window for me for Forest, and it's again a lot of movement, which you're used to now. The hope is that you throw enough shit at the wall and some of it will stick, but I mean it's a lot they've thrown out, spent a lot of money, and it hasn't really worked out for them. Honestly, I don't think it's looking amazing next season for Forest, and part of the reason for that is Vitor Pereira. I don't think he's that good of a gaffer. I'm going to be completely frank with you. We saw him last season at Wolves. The season's just happened at Wolves, and it was nothing to be like excited about really. He wasn't anything anything special there. He obviously got them out of a situation where they needed to be rescued. I mean, what's his name? What's his fucking Gary O'Neill, who was poor, and then they took the manager bounce, and then he just flopped after that. What the hell? I did not want to do that. But yeah, I don't know if this is the guy for them going forward. And you're looking at this team and you're thinking there's a bit of work that needs to be done. You need to sell a lot of these names, and some of these names are going to go. The main one, Elliot Anderson, will not be at this football club next season, and then the other main one, Morgan Gibbs White, will not be at this football club next season. Those are two players that are going to leave, and you have to replace those. And I don't think they're going to be replaced very well, to be honest with you. Nothing from the deals that Forest have done says to me that they're going to improve on these players. Looking at next season, you need more attacking options. You need a striker because, I mean, a 1 year doesn't get consistent enough games time. Chris Wood is 34. An Eagle Jesus, while a decent option, yes, doesn't have the goal scoring emphasis to run the line on his own. He needs someone else to bounce off. He needs a Chris Wood next to him so he can make space and create a little bit more. But you need a wing. You need to get rid of some of these names. Like, I mean, two of these, two of these four of McAtee, Backwood, and Dwayne Hutchinson have to go for me, and you have to replace those well, which Forest probably aren't going to do. I can't lie. You're going to need another left-sided. If you're going to sign a left-sided player for Gibbs White, maybe, or someone with the versatility to do a bit of both, something like that. But then outside of that, I don't. I think the back line is good. You've got Milenkovic, you've got Murillo, and you've got Jair Cunha there. Do we need another fullback option here? I'm going to say no. I think the fullbacks are looking good with Aina Savannah on the right and then Williams and Nets on the left. I think those are good options to have there. I like these three midfielders. Obviously, Anderson's going, so you need another body in there. But yeah, Forest are going to get a lot of money from two players, and I don't know if they're going to use it well. So for their prospects next season, I am going to go with a. The prospects next season, I'm going to go with 4 out of 10. They are in the league, obviously, so that gives them a bit of buzz. But I think this might be one of the contenders to get relegated next season. They have to improve well on the players that they're going to lose, and I don't have faith that they're going to do that, to be honest. So, yeah, not great next season for Forest, in my personal opinion. But here we go, 11 out of 30, tied with Tottenham here. And I've put them above Spurs because it's been slightly less embarrassing for Forest this year than it has been for Spurs. Best performing team so far. They're slotting about mid-table at the moment for transfers, and then just above West Ham in terms of prospects because they are in the league next year, which is better than being in the Championship. But yeah, I am currently working on the Spurs Substack. I'm going to get that done tonight, and I'm going to get the Forest one done either tonight or tomorrow, depending on what I'm doing for the World Cup games. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying the tournament so far, lads, and have a good one. Thank you very much for watching.